What's up, Jonathan? How are we doing?
So I have two kids, a 12-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl. And the 12-year-old boy I adopted him. I actually got with his mother when she was a couple months pregnant, actually. And I've been there ever since. I was there for the birth. I was there for it all. And she recently passed away a couple years ago. And
I'm sorry, man.
My life has moved on now, and I've met a great woman, and we actually come up pregnant a month or so ago, or a couple months ago, and wasn't planned, but you know how that goes.
Yeah, I know how that goes. I know how that all works. Yeah.
But
well, I'm going to tell you congratulations anyway. Congratulations, brother.
Well, thank you, John. I'm excited now. It was shocking, but
I can't even wrap my head around what that conversation would be like in my house. And my wife was like, "Well, I got to tell you something when you get home." Yeah. So, man, congratulations, brother.
Thank you. Well, it's going to be a boy.
Okay.
And my wife's point is it's going to be my first biological boy, and she don't want to. My son don't know that he's adopted.
Yeah.
And I heard the phone call the other morning of the guy that found out he was adopted and how it affected him. And I didn't know if I ever planned on telling him in the first place. You know, I don't know. I just feel like I'm his dad. You know, I've been there. But my wife thinks that I shouldn't hide that from him, and I shouldn't hide it from the new son. I just don't know how to go about that. I don't know how to. He's 12. I don't know how to. I've already had to tell him that his mama wouldn't come home from the hospital, and now I got to tell him that, you know, that I'm not his biological dad. I just don't know how to go about it.
Yeah. So, number one, man, I appreciate your heart on this deal. You said it right. You're in a predicament. Yeah. First and foremost, no secrets, man. No secrets ever. No secrets, no secrets, no secrets. They destroy families. They're a fire that burns a family to a crisp from the inside out. It just turns the whole thing to ash. The second thing is, you're right on, man, get rid of this biological language. You're about to have your second son. That is what it is with the period at the end of that sentence. The moment you start saying, well, you're that son, but this is my... Dude, when you do that, you are creating chaos that you're creating trauma, brother, that will burn through generations of your family. And that's not your heart. I know that. Don't do that. And you have to be pretty direct with your new wife that there is not going to be a that son and this son, right? These boys are going to be your boys. Your daughter's going to be your daughter. These kids are going to be y'all's kids, and that's going to be that. Everybody's going to be treated equally and loved and engaged and all that stuff, right? Don't get that language even in your head, okay? So when it comes to telling your son, I can't recommend enough that you've got to get with a professional at this point that's going to walk you through, and there's all kinds of ways to do that in very gentle ways. There's just some gentle ways that a good counselor, and you're talking 2 or 3 sessions. This isn't a monumental thing. And if has he gone to counseling for trauma with his mom lost?
You know, I probably should have, Dr. John, but no, I haven't yet. And I planned on doing it this year because me and my wife talked about it at the end of last year. Probably something I should have done, Dr. John, but my life was kind of chaotic at that point.
Hey, so there's no judgment here, man. We're gonna take tomorrow as a new day, and then we're gonna go from there, okay? And so here's what I want you to do. I want you to reach out to a reputable counselor who works with kids in your area. Let them know the situation, that you adopted this son from his birth mom, and then she passed away a few years ago. He's 12. As he starts to hit puberty, trauma is, the way I explain it, is like taking a bouncy ball and just humming it into a kitchen. Everybody can throw that bouncy ball, and it's going to bounce in a million different directions. But the hormones, the connection, the desire to have deeper relationship with friends, romantic relationships, all that stuff starts happening now in a much more accelerated fashion. And so trauma is going to emerge in some wonky ways for him. Okay? It's normal. It's natural. You should expect it. Your new wife should expect it. But you can start preempting some of that now if you're not already seeing it. I'd be surprised if you weren't already seeing it, but maybe you're not. And get with a counselor. Let them know that you want to start talking through some of those things and that you want some guidance and some support as y'all begin to tell them, hey, I'm not your biological dad, but I'm daddy. I'm not your biological father is a better way to say that, but I'm your dad. I chose you. Of all the kids in the world, I chose you. I will always love you. You're my oldest son. We're about to have a new son. And here's an awesome way to that one of my professors, Dr. Marbley, taught me, and it worked like a champ, man, was when my wife got pregnant with our second, she said, start referring to the second baby, to the baby in utero, as their baby. So you're going to start telling your son, hey, man, when your brother comes, you're going to have a lot of responsibility. You and me, we're going to raise a good young man here. We're gonna really help him be compassionate and empathetic and kind. Me and you, man, your brother, and he's gonna take ownership, and he's gonna be excited, and he's gonna have a participation role and own this big brother stuff instead of seeing it as a intrusion, right? Someone who's taking something from me.
Right. Well, I heard you talk about that a couple episodes ago, and that's the first thing I did when we found out.
Yeah, look at you, man.
Is your brother and yeah, like that. And I want to say that my wife I don't want her to seem like she's a bad guy in this or nothing. She wasn't going to say, this is your son, this is your biological. She was just, she works in social work, and she's just try to point me in the right direction, and she might not know everything.
Oh, sure, man. And hey,
all that.
No, I appreciate you standing up for your wife, man. You're a good guy. And I'm not trying to badmouth your wife. What I do want everyone to be cognizant of is everything becomes different when you hold, in a blended family like this, that new kid that comes along, usually it's 2 or 3 or 5. In your case, I don't know, 12 or 13 years later, right? That new kid can have a bonding effect, can be the shiny new toy, leaving these new teenagers who desperately need their parents' attention feeling like they're outside the loop. And it can be really easy for a new couple who gets together to want to really super bond over this new baby that we share together. And then the older kids can feel that, right? So it's not drinking the haterade or anything, just something to be cognizant of, to think through. And you got a good wife, man. There are some out there, not so much, brother. So I'm talking to you as much as I'm talking to our listeners out there. If you've adopted a kid, your kids are your kids. If you've married into a family and you are co-raising those kids, they are your kids. They are your kids. They are your kids. Not, well, that's my biological kid, that's my stepkid. Nope. They're your kids. They are worthy of love. They're worthy of being connected to. You hug them, love them, hold them accountable, discipline them, do all of the things that you got to do. But all that, back to your original question, get with a professional that's going to walk you through, that's going to gently unveil this to your kid in a way that he can hear it, that he can digest it, he can ask the questions, and more importantly, he's probably not going to have a lot of questions to ask up front, but he is going to, over time, ask more and more questions, and you want to set up an environment that he leaves that exchange with you and a counselor. He leaves that exchange knowing, man, my dad, Jonathan, is a safe guy for me to talk to. He loves me. He chose me. He walked alongside my mama when she passed away. He's asking me to help raise this new baby, my little brother. All that, you want him super tethered in. As he gets older, he's going to feel more and more untethered. Mom's gone. Who's my real dad? You'll walk through those kind of questions as the years go on. But right now, yeah, he's 12 years old. You want to begin to have that conversation ASAP and do it with a professional. This is not something you just plop down and be like, well, hey, I got something to tell you, son. You will set off a chain reaction inside of him that will rage like a California forest fire. Okay, it'll take years to put out. So, man, I appreciate your heart. To all you parents out there who've got a young kid that you say that you've adopted and you think, man, this is just going to stay between us. I'm his dad. I don't even need to tell him because I'm always going to be there for it. Man, secrets destroy families. Secrets destroy families. Man, Kelly can't tell you how many calls we get, how many emails we're getting about. So I'm 24 and I just did 23andMe and The gig's up on those kind of private things. If you got a kid out of wedlock and you know that they are down the street or in the neighborhood or across the country and they don't know about you, they're going to find you. They're going to find you. You got to have that conversation sooner rather than later. It's much better coming from you on your terms and you getting with the old baby mama or baby daddy and figuring out how you're going to do that, because it's not going to stay secret for long. And the longer the deception, the longer the lies go on, the hotter and louder that forest fire is. Great question, Jonathan. Thank you so much for joining us.